What has happened? Here's the headline. What has happened to the Dallas Cowboys at home? What has happened to them? What has happened to them? This is a team that won 16 games in a row before the Packers came in and went up 20-7 on them at halftime in a playoff game where they damn near gave up 50. And the way that ownership handled the loss is something that's now spun into 2024, as we talked about all season long. All off season long. We were talking about where are the supplements to a team that has a roster or had one last year that could go deep into the playoffs, but a young team that played more together, more dynamically, faster, smarter, stronger, boat raced them out of the playoffs. And the owner says, I'm going all in with the team. I thought that meant seeing what was a problem and going into the free agent market to fix it, to go all in one time with a quarterback and a receiver needing new contracts. And they hardly do anything, certainly on offense. They don't even draft a running back. I mean, you could tell the way through it. At least, again, from my perspective, sitting at this desk and on my couch and on the NFL Network desk. Notice I put the soft stuff in the middle. Desk, couch, desk. By the way, it's a double stuff with that couch.
Nice couch.
Okay, listen.
Like an Oreo.
You could see what way to take the pressure off of Dak. What way to take the pressure off the offense? What way? Run it. That's why I said Derrick Henry. Honestly, I know this is an I told you so situation. It gives me zero pleasure, and I will always admit when I'm wrong. But outside of 88, outside of CeeDee Lamb, who were the Ravens worried about this week? Who? Tell me, who was keeping Harbaugh up at night all week long? 11 and 88, and by proxy 4. That's it. Honestly, defensively, well, there's Diggs too.
Jake Berg, 87?
But
90?
Offensively, who is concerning you? Because defensively, they can't stop the run.
Nope.
At present. And offensively, they're putting their defense back on the field too quick. They're not prolonging drives. They're not balanced. And you're getting blown out in the first half of games at home, which is supposed to be your bread and butter. So what's happened? And all I could sit there and think yesterday was, boy, what would it have been like if 22 wasn't in purple, but he was having the star on the side of his helmet? That's all I kept thinking about. And when I heard Jerry Jones saying all in, and I came back from the combine saying, hey, guys, guess what I heard 10 days before free agency? I heard all in means nothing else. It's everything that you currently see here. They have no plans. And they might not re-sign their coach. They might not extend their coach. And they may not extend their quarterback and their receiver, which, by the way, lasted all the way until August. As we know, it lasted all the way until September for Dak. He signed his contract the day they opened up against the Browns.
like 2 hours before the game.
I mean,
That shouldn't hinder your preparation, though. I'm sorry.
how does it not?
Because you know you're going to
by the
get
way,
paid.
guess what?
He's a professional. I believe that he would put that to the side.
But I think
it's ridiculous. I'm granted.
No, I understand it. I think we're now getting caught up in something that's insignificant because the result we saw later that day, they eviscerated the Browns, which makes the last 2 weeks even more surprising. But Derrick Henry ran through the Cowboys, who had to spin its wheels in 2-minute mode. And by the way, talk about miracle of miracles, get an onside kick recovery. In this day and age where you basically have to shout it out. You could, if it was an open air stadium, you can get one of those airplanes to drag around a sign saying we are about to onside kick.
Right now.
You have to declare it.
Yeah, this is happening.
There's no surprise. They pulled it off. But Henry with a $151, 25 rushes, and 2 scores for a team that we were talking about. What's their identity? Do they know how to run it with Derrick Henry? And Harbaugh and Monken finally, when it came down to it, towards the end of the game, when they needed a score from him, actually, you know what? Bless him, put their quarterback under center with a fullback in front of him. Like, that's the stuff. And then did some runs with Lamar and so on and so forth. But Cowboys fell down so far and had to spin its wheels back. And all I kept thinking, how different things could be if Derrick Henry ran for Dallas yesterday. And I'm sorry to do this, but we asked him. Dallas never even knocked on his door. This was Henry during the spring after he signed with the Ravens. Did the Cowboys never ring your phone up, Derrick Henry? That never happened?
Never happened. Okay. Which I'm not mad. Because, I ended up in Baltimore, so it worked out.
No.
Perfect for me.
And I totally understand, why, me even poking around could be viewed by you in any way, shape, or form as, or for anybody out there to take it that, you might not be happy with the way things worked out. Obviously you are, and it's apparent why, because they love running the ball, and more do they love the style that you bring to the game. But, Cowboy fans were dreaming of you with a star on the side of your helmet. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff out there talking about me wanting to go to the Cowboys and quotes from the pivot podcast I did, but just to make things clear, I wanted to be a Raven. They were my number 1 choice. Like I said before, I didn't know going into free agency if they would still be interested, which they were, and I was happy that they were because that's where I wanted to go. I felt like they fit me. Their culture fits my style. And, if they wasn't, then I felt like the Cowboys would have been a good place for me as well because I stayed in the off season. I've been here for a long time. I train here, so it was right down the street. So that's why they would have been another option.
Truly, doesn't give me any pleasure to run that sound back. Trust me, Cowboys fans, especially, and here's the proof. I'm wearing the same shirt today that I did on April 9th. Same exact shirt, and it's just...
Looks great.
I think it does, but I just want to let you know I have washed it in the interim. Jerry Jones asked about why didn't you sign Derrick Henry yesterday? You could set your watch to this on April 9th when we talked to Derrick Henry, knowing that these teams were going to face each other. We hadn't had the schedule yet. We didn't know that you could set your watch for it week 3 at that point. Hit it.
Watching Derrick Henry do what he did, it didn't make you rethink your approach to the run game?
We couldn't afford that.
Why not? Well, you could.
Yeah. I don't know. Why can't you buy a mansion when you live in a different kind of house? We couldn't afford it. We can't make that all fit. It's simple as that.
Listen, I know he laughed when he was asked why couldn't you afford it. He laughed, and I'm sure he's laughing. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm paying $94 million per for a quarterback wide receiver combination." And my point is for the extra $14 million over 2, whatever you could do to fit that in the cap to make the $94 million per work, you need that guy. And right now, Zeke ain't it. And Rico Dowdle ain't it. And it's on Brandon Cooks and Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks and Kevontae Turpin. Jake Ferguson, right? Dude, that's it. Because nobody else walking through that door. DeAndre Hopkins not walking through that door. I guess you can sort of make a deal at some point mid-season.
Yeah, but you got to look at it this way, too. Like, who thought Juwan Jennings was going to be the greatest wide? Like,
you
there
are not
talented players on these rosters,
correct?
Right? Just because they're not household names, just because not everyone knows them.
Look at the Packers.
So there's obviously these guys are National Football League players.
They got to step up.
There's got to be some talent there. But Rich, I'm not surprised this happened. Is anyone surprised based upon the fact that
I am surprised that you're getting boat raced in first halves?
Well, I mean the Derrick Henry thing, because we all kind of knew once the schedule came out. We didn't call him, we didn't sign him. Oh, he's playing Dallas. You know what's happening, right? It was already written as far like I fully expected him to run up our chest and down our back, and he did. And you know what? We deserved it. You had it coming. You could have had him, perhaps, and you didn't. You know, Chris, that chart where that dude did, where he was like F around and find out.
Yeah, totally.
That's what the Cowboys did. I wrote it up here. You see, they could have had Derrick. They needed Derrick, so they were effing around, right? And then they didn't sign Derrick, so then they found out by getting murked by Derrick. They effed around and they found out.
Can you send that? Can you scan that to the
Louvre?
To the guys at home?
Yeah,
I think that should be part of the new RES consulting handbook to send to people.
F around and find out.
I like it.
So
That's a chart. That's a great chart. I appreciate it. I like the artwork. I think you put some thought into it, some time into it. I appreciate it. We should have that from now on. Well done. What's on the other side?
Oh, these are my notes from my Tony Khan interview.
Okay, there you go. Very good. All right, that's good. I'm glad you're just grabbing scrap paper. That makes it even better. That makes it even better because that's the way it seems the Cowboys put their team together this year.
I recycle,
dude. I'm telling you. So let me just push back though on my own opinion here, because I did predict on the Overreaction Monday podcast last week that we would be saying this week that the Cowboys are in trouble. I will just say this. You know what's a brand for the Cowboys from last year and the year before that I'd like to see from them again, that they need to see from them again, is on brand going into MetLife against the Giants and Spankalanka.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's coming in 3 days. They can get the taste out of their mouths. They can go on the road again. They can just feel like they can band together and feel like the world's against them and circle the wagons and go tell Daniel Jones, not today. And then they're at Pittsburgh on a Sunday night. Holy cow, is that a monster game before Detroit visits, then a bye at San Francisco, at Atlanta, home for Philly and Houston. Oh, baby, do we need to see these guys I mentioned? I am calling them out. One of them has an opportunity to say, I'll take the pressure off of 88. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Who is going to guard Malik Neighbors?
See, I thought this was a given, right? Until yesterday.
What have we done?
Diggs will be there. Put Diggs on him.
I don't know, man. Because the Giants looked pretty decent yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you what. Malik Neighbors is supremely talented. This just in. But, we've got days to talk about it.
Okay.
But that's my take on the Cowboys. And the Ravens did what they had to do. Boy, howdy.
Must win for the Ravens. Right?
And John Harbaugh's got a lot of tape in the back end of that to say, we're not celebrating here, gents. That's what we needed to do. And they have to turn that around because their next game is Sunday night, home for Buffalo, at Cincinnati. They needed that win in the worst way that they need that win. And again, Harbaugh's got a ton of tape from the late third, early fourth to say what happened there and focus them right away on Buffalo. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern for free.